The system is failing. We're going to have more homelessness, more unemployment, and the government has to print more money. It's a command and control economy where the government tells you everything. I just don't trust our government. And they're going to have to start printing pretty quickly. And the more they print, the less value, purchasing power the dollar has, or the loonie, or the yen, or the peso. People are talking about inflation. I think we're in depression right now, and we're going to be the biggest depression in world history. In the 1970s, that's when the world was changing. The biggest bust in the history of the world is coming up. It's pensions. They trusted the government. They trusted their pension would be there, and it's going to go bust. And that's us. We get crushed.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bearable Bull here. And I got this aggressively average content for you today. As oh baby, the settlement talks are back up at the forefront of this XRP case. It's being speculated that a settlement for this Ripple vs. SEC case is possible, as the SEC may not want to risk it all. Specifically, the SEC will not want to let those Bill Hinman emails go public. Oh, is the SEC in a shitstorm right now? Bill Hinman, Jay Clayton, Mark Berger, the conflicts of interest of the last SEC administration, and even right now, Gary Gensler is under fire. Gary Gensler is being scrutinized due to his connections and his favorable practices with Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX. And I think the SEC is most likely right now to settle this case than having any other possible scenario play out. Ladies and gentlemen, the word settlement has been thrown for the past almost 2 years now. The SEC has wasted enough of our time. But right now, with all the evidence and this current situation at play, it may be the moment where the SEC finally folds, a settlement is reached, and XRP is allowed to reign free. Something else that's extremely interesting is from Alex Cobb, as he stated, huge blessing in disguise that many US crypto exchanges took XRP off their balance sheets after the SEC lawsuit. Now they're going bust and don't have any XRP to dump to save themselves. That is a very important point. People are afraid of Digital Currency Group and Grayscale going bust and how that can affect Bitcoin. But these exchanges have minimal to almost no exposure to XRP right now due to the regulations and the stance they took when the SEC filed this lawsuit. XRP, in my opinion, based on everything I've researched, has minimal exposure to exchanges, and at the same time has minimal, if any, exposure to Tether at all. Those are major things you all need to understand. If Tether or other crypto exchanges fall, it's going to heavily affect the entire crypto market. But I believe XRP, if that moment were to come, will still remain relatively stable. Ripple's always known what they've been doing, and they've been partnering with the best players in the game. See, right now what's happening in the crypto market is they're shitting on FTX and Bitcoin, by the way, saying we should go lower. While at the exact same time, the day FTX collapsed, we remember that the Fed stated they're going to start a central bank digital currency pilot. What crypto is assisting with central bank digital currencies? XRP. The XRP private ledger will allow central banks to launch CBDCs, which will allow them to keep their privacy. And you're still scared that XRP won't be successful. That's a nonsensical take to have, and here you need to listen to the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab talk about their future agenda, and also know their social credit score system cannot be fully implemented without central bank digital currencies. Please listen to Klaus, and also the overall agenda that will be coming to a country near you.
On the G20, you were there meeting some of the leaders as well. Professor Schwab, what do you make of the result? Finally, they put something as a statement, and it seems quite positive with all the voices included.
I think it's positive. It's already positive through the fact that everybody agreed about the statement, which we haven't had the last years. Now the base has been formed, but we have to go one step further. We have to have a strategic mood. We have to construct the world of tomorrow. It's a systemic transformation of the world. So we have to define how the world should look like, which we want to come out of this transformation period. I respect China's achievements, which are tremendous over the last over 40 years. I think it's a role model for many countries, but I think also we should leave it to each country to make its own decision what system it wants to adopt. And I think we should be very careful in imposing systems. But the Chinese model is certainly a very attractive model for quite a number of countries.
And if you notice, my country was the first where they made cash illegal. 2016, digitalization was forced on the country. 8 o'clock in the evening announced midnight, cash was illegal, the big notes. And 70% of the economy crashed. This digitalization is now going all over the world, and there's a war on cash. They call it war on cash, because cash is merely a medium of exchange. It has no value in itself. It's just a promise. You read the dollar note, it says, I promise to pay the bearer. When it's digital, even a credit card, you're giving rents to the global financial system. But when it's cryptocurrency in the hands of algorithms, in the hands of big tech, they will do what is happening in China. Create social credit system to decide a new caste system. And you might have also followed that while all this has been happening, the founder of the World Economic Forum did a book called The Great Reset on how to deal with the COVID crisis. And everything we're seeing unfold is part of that Great Reset. But an element of that Great Reset is you will own nothing. Now, I'm a believer in the commons. And it would be so good if all land was a commons, if all seed was a commons, if food was a commons, if health was a commons, so that we had strong public health systems, strong community health system, deep knowledge about being healthy. But when Carl Schwab says, you will own nothing, he's saying we'll own it all. That's why you have Gates, not just owning the seed, wanting to own our food. One, of course, controls the health, and now owning land. This, if ever there was a time for humanity to wake up, now is the time.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's so important. She explains this agenda so well. The collapsing of cash. The war against cash. They're slowly but surely phasing it out while rolling out central bank digital currencies. They'll probably incentivize it with universal basic income so that the people want it after a financial crisis. But this is what's so important for all of you to understand. The agenda and the goal is for you to own nothing and be happy. Well, your goal now should be to be unconfiscatable and maintain ownership. Having your money on exchanges is a risk to you. And on my channel, I've been outspoken about self-custody. Did you listen to the bull? Or did you not heed my warning? I bet you there's a lot of people right now that really wish they had their own wallets and didn't custody their assets on FTX and other exchanges. But you still have a chance. Protect yourself by getting your offline hardware wallets and moving your crypto off the exchanges. If you don't buy now, you deserve the hack and the theft of the money that's coming to all retail investors. Ladies and gentlemen, they say you'll own nothing and be happy. Part of that plan is destroying your wealth and your savings through inflation. The other part is by stealing your assets if they can. Nobody's stealing my XRP. My XRP diamond hands and security are super tight. And nothing is gonna stop me from being godfathered in to the XRP bull run and the new 1%. Now here, to cap off this video for the day, we have to go a little deeper on SBF and FTX. Guys, we're beginning to find out that Sam Bankman-Fried's parents bought 19 properties worth over $121 million over the past couple years, as $1 billion of client funds are still missing at FTX. $300 million was cashed out by Sam. $70 million was traced to political campaign donations. $120 million to parents' properties. This is extremely important, and I'm only going to get into the political donations for just a second, as BitBoy Crypto, who's been on a rampage recently, stated FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried paid a Republican, Kevin McCarthy, enough money to stop other Republicans. The conflicts of interest is not just along single party lines. Bipartisan nonsense went on. And something that all of you should know before I continue is that I hate all types of corruption. And all of these people need to be investigated immediately. And as we find out more every single day, know that it looks even better for Ripple and XRP, as Ripple has been transparent from the beginning, working with regulators from the beginning, trying to be compliant from the beginning, then went through this lawsuit, missed the last bull run. But now this lawsuit is ending, and the SEC looks oh so bad. Political donations went on. SEC Chair Gary Gensler was in bed with FTX, probably part of those orgies they were having. And what you need to understand is the wrath of the Hinman emails and the wrath of the Sam Bankman-Fried Gary Gensler connection, in my opinion, make it for the most convenient time to be an XRP investor. XRP is still at rock bottom prices, and I think we're going to be able to get a fair settlement on the table. I think the days of us covering this SEC case are fast coming to an end, and you should all be excited about that. In my opinion, Gary Gensler's on his way out. And I'm going to leave you with this video of Tom Emmer exposing the corruption of Gary Gensler, as everyone in crypto and in Washington want Gary Gensler out. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bearable Bull here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Now I'll be back tomorrow with another video.
Joining me now, Minnesota Congressman Tom Emmer. First of all, congratulations on your new role as Majority Whip. I can't wait for some of the ideas that you're going to bring to that job. But I want to talk about this because you've been at the forefront of this long before the you-know-what hit the fan. Let's start by playing a portion of a recording of a conversation that was recalled by CME President Terry Duffy. And it's got some shocking things in here about a conversation he had with Sam Bankman-Fried. Take a listen.
Let me be your risk manager. I'll clear it to make sure it's done properly. He says, well, you won't deploy my model. I said, your model is crap. Why would I deploy a model that's going to introduce risk to the system? He turned me down, flat out turned me down. And that's right away I said to him, I said, you know what, you're a fraud. You're an absolute fraud. I went to Congress. I've never seen a Washington, D.C. like I saw that time, from the regulators to the members of Congress, singing hymns that I never heard before. He said that you could lose 85 to 90% of your value overnight. And I said, he will not commit to keeping this just to crypto. I said, the reason is because he wants to deploy it across all asset classes. I said, that is a biblical disaster if you people allow this to happen.
I guess the question, Congressman, is why did you people allow this to happen?
Well, we did not. And Terry is a good friend. He does a great job at CME. He's one of the good guys in the marketplace. And it's interesting because we've had a good relationship for the last couple of years. You can ask Terry. My office has been heavily involved in this area, as you know, Charles. For more than just the last couple of years. We've been heavily involved since I came to Congress several years ago. Terry never said that directly to me, but I'll tell you what. Terry is one of the good guys, and when he goes to Sam Bankman-Fried and he offers him tens of millions in customer accounts in returns for managing his risk, and Sam Bankman-Fried turns him down, he's got the right to have the red flags go up. This literally is not just a failure of FTX, it's a failure of CFI, that's known as centralized finance. It is not a failure of crypto. This is a failure of, it's a failure of Sam Bankman-Fried. It's a failure of business ethics, and it's a failure of the government oversight and regulatory procedures.
Yeah, and I wanted to bring that up because you've always been a champion of technology, the role that it's played in the prosperity of Americans, and you've been a very strong critic of Gary Gensler. You've urged accountability. What's going on there? Why? I mean, what do you think? What are they telling you about the inability to add clarification to this issue, making it worse?
We've got major questions, Charles. I mean, look, Gary Gensler and the SEC, apparently they had meetings last March with Sam Bankman-Fried and executives from FTX and a trading firm here in the U.S., and they were working apparently with Sam Bankman-Fried and others to give them special treatment from the SEC that others aren't getting. And they announced a partnership with this trading firm last April. We kept trying to find out what exactly the partnership is all about. We didn't get those answers. And obviously, Sam Bankman-Fried then was pushing special treatment legislation through Congress. And when it was finally revealed what it was, and the industry actually started raising red flags all over the place, that's when this thing came apart. And it's really a failure, it appears, of Gary Gensler to actually deal with the bad guys. You got to ask yourself, Charles, where was he on Celsius? Where was he on Voyager? Where was he on Terra Luna? And now, where was Gary Gensler on FTX? Yeah. This is exactly what he's supposed to be doing. And Terry was talking about that. What is the regulator responsible for this doing, going after good actors in the community and working backroom deals, it appears, with people who are doing nefarious things?
Representative, we got less than a minute to go, about 30 seconds. Sam Bankman-Fried supposed to be at a New York Times deal book conference. Last I looked yesterday, he was still on the program, but they also added Ben Affleck. I don't know what that's all about, but I mean, he's still being feted by parts of the industry as some sort of wonder kind. I mean, what the heck is going on?
Charles, the New York Times is not the industry. I've stopped trying to understand the New York Times. They wrote a puff piece on him within the last week for some reason. Here's a guy who mismanaged funds, it appears. There's, a million investors out there. There's $10 billion, that $8 to $10 billion. We need to get to the bottom of this. We need to understand why Gary Gensler and the SEC were not doing their job. We need to understand how this was allowed to get to the point where people and their savings are getting hurt. Yeah. That's exactly what the regulator is supposed to be taking care of. Yeah. And by the way, it's not about crypto. Remember, this is about centralized finance. DeFi is the point. They're going after decentralized finance. This is not what it's about. Right. It's not about the crypto industry. This is about Sam Bankman-Fried. It's about the regulator, Gary Gensler, and it's about centralized finance, which needs to be brought under our regulatory umbrella. And Gary Gensler has done nothing to make that happen.
And I really hope you guys bring in Silicon Valley, which I think plays a major role in this, and a whole bunch of other things that have ripped off the American public. Congressman, again, congratulations. I'm glad you came on the show. Thank you.
Thanks, Charles.
All righty.